Black, y'all. Get on up. Black, y'all.
Welcome to a special episode of KAP and No KAP, political talk show. Today we have a very special guest who is running for the 12th district in a special election, Miss Shanequa Moore. Can we give it up for Miss Shanequa Moore? Okay. So, you're running in a special election in District 12, amongst four other people, like three other people, I'm assuming, maybe four other people.
Yeah.
What makes you qualified to run for district, for city council speaker in District 12 in this special election? Give me a little bit of background information on yourself.
Yeah, of course. That'd be great. First of all, thank you, Kevin, for having me on and for your amazing team that I know work diligently behind the scene to put these kind of shows together that are really important for people to hear and to see and get the information out. So a little bit about myself. I'm a Bronx native, born and raised in the Bronx. I am one out of six kids. So my mother raised six kids by herself. She was a working class mother that struggled, but that taught me the value of education and of serving. So since the age of 14 years old, I have been serving my community in many different ways, from being a youth worker, summer youth worker, which was years ago. I won't say my age, but some years ago, it was a summer youth worker where I started and had my passion for working with families and kids. I worked at the family support system, which doesn't even exist anymore. That was years ago. Yeah, and that's where I developed that passion just for helping people. From there, I went on to working and specifically in our district, District 12, as a counselor, as a case manager with mentally ill men that were formerly incarcerated on Seymour and Fenton Avenue. I did that for about a year. I also was a Sunday school teacher at Rhema Christian Center on Fish Avenue, as well as a youth leader. I also served as a youth pastor and minister on White Plains Road and 237th at the Greater Anointing Tabernacle. And what I'm mainly known for is my work as a nonprofit leader, where I worked with several schools in a district, from IS 181 to High School of Contemporary Arts, to John Philip Sousa, to Academy of Scholarship and Entrepreneurship, running crucial programs that our kids need, such as counseling and mental health, art programs and recreational programs, to make sure our kids have what they need in school. We know that in the Bronx, there's a lack of information and a lack of access to a lot of resources that are out there that we just don't get. So I am that person that pushes resources and information into our people, the ones that need it the most. What qualifies me? That's a great question. I don't want to say I don't want to come from the standpoint and say my experience, because I think my experience speaks for itself. My resume, if you looked at it, you see the many different things that I've been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time in my life. You'll see my expertise in policy analysis, program development, organizational development, community advocacy, right? But I don't want to come from that standpoint. I think my heart and my service is what qualifies me. I think that a leader, it takes a leader with the right heart to lead. I think too many people get into politics and they do it for the wrong reasons, the wrong intentions, and the wrong motives. And this is why you see things happening like what happened with this special election, where people, their trust have been lost, right? Leaders' trust have been lost. We have lost their trust because they're not leading right. They're not leading with the right heart. They're not leading with the right motive. If you're going to run for office, you have to have the right motive. It cannot be about you. You have to put the needs of the people first. That has to be your priority. And I think above anything else, above my resume, above everything I've been able to accomplish, my heart and my service is what qualifies me to run for city council.
That's an outstanding answer, and I really, really appreciate that. You really drew a nice picture in that answer. You're asking voters to write your name in on the ballot. Why is that?
Yeah, thank you for that. First of all, that's a loaded question. To start, I was kicked off the ballot because two individuals that are actually on the ballot put in objections against my petitions that it was actually false. I went out there, myself and my workers, and a lot of stuff. This is my first time saying this, Kevin, publicly. So you're the first person to hear this, and those that will be watching later will be the first to hear this. The only people that notice are my team members, my volunteers. We went out there and we were getting signatures. We didn't pay people. We weren't sitting behind our desks. We were out there on the streets getting signatures, talking to voters, engaging with them, knocking on doors at train stations, at supermarkets, at laundromats. You know, it's interesting because I didn't see certain people out there that's on the ballot. So that's questionable, but I won't go there. But I will say that we were out there honestly. We used an app called the Reach app to confirm that they were registered voters, and they were, before allowing them to sign a petition. Not only that, before we submitted our petition, I consulted with a lawyer to make sure everything was done correctly. In addition to that, my team and I, because I'm a very meticulous person, I'm a businesswoman, I run 2 businesses, so I'm very, you know, I pay attention to detail. I like to make sure things are done right. So I did go through petitions before submitting them to the Board of Elections, as well as consulted with the lawyer and had numerous eyes looking at it to make sure it was submitted. So the information was false. What was interesting was the Board of Elections sent out 2 reports. The first report said I had enough signatures. The second report said I didn't. That was Pamela Johnson's objection. The first one, which was Kevin Riley, said I didn't have enough signatures, said I did have enough signatures. The second one, which was Pamela Johnson's one, said I didn't. What was interesting was that my team went to the Board of Elections and we verified way more than enough signatures. And what was even more, you know, very questionable was the fact that when we were at the Board of Elections, the staff looked very scared and afraid when we were at those computers, because we were there all day for about 3 days, including election day. We were there on election day at those computers. We had our books spread out, going through each voter file, verifying signatures. I'm talking about 1,000 signatures, verifying signatures, verifying names, addresses, going through each of these things, hours. This is the stuff that people don't talk about, the stuff that you may not see on my page, or the stuff that, you know, people try to hide. But in honesty, those signatures we got those signatures with integrity and with honesty and with hard work. What the Board of Elections ended up doing, because they realized they couldn't get me with signatures, you know, I blame it on the political machine, honestly, was they said it was a default on my cover letter. And I'm not going to go too much into detail with that, but there was a lot of stuff done with the Board of Elections where they did not allow me into the fair hearing. They would not give me access to get in and to defend myself. And even in Supreme Court, because I went to fight this in Supreme Court and paid $10,000 for a lawyer. And this is money out of pocket, okay? And paid for a lawyer to defend my cover sheet. Unfortunately, you know, it didn't work out. So I continued. I said I had to make a decision. Why am I doing this? I had to stop and ask myself, is this something that I want to do? Because at this point, what people don't know is once you're a write-in candidate and once you've been kicked off, you don't qualify for public funds. You don't get matching funds. You also don't get there's a lot of things the way the campaign finance and the Board of Election runs where they won't put a voter profile on you. So you have to do a lot of the advertisement yourself. So a lot of that takes talking to people, engaging with people. But before I did that, I had to make a decision. Do I want to continue? Why am I doing this? And I had to realize I'm doing this because I love my community, because they deserve to have the right person in office. And I believe that's me. So I continued. And a lot of this funding, you'll see a lot of things that I've done over my campaign was done out of my pocket and people that were volunteering that gave. And we did this because of our heart. We didn't get no money. We didn't get no endorsements from unions. We didn't get any of that. We did this because we care. These are people from the community. And so that is why I'm asking people to write my name on the ballot, because I am still a candidate. I'm still required by campaign finance to abide by their rules and regulations, and have been. And you can see, go and look at my disclosures and filings online. I am still a certified write-in candidate, because people say, well, you're not a certified candidate. No, that's not true. Just because you're on the ballot doesn't mean you cannot vote for me. You have options. Use them, utilize them. You can write my name in. It's maybe the first time you've done this. We'll do it together and make history together, because I believe that people deserve to choose. And that's what the political machine will do. They will try to take your choice away, and you cannot let them do that. You have to use your discernment, your own conviction to vote for who you believe deserves to be there. And that's what I'm doing. I'm giving people that choice. You can write my name in on the ballot if you believe that you want me to be in that place and you believe that I deserve to be there. And if I earned your vote, you can write my name in, and I would appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that answer. So,
Sure.
if elected or when elected, what would you do different in the district that has been done for years and years and years and just hasn't seemed to not work?
That's so loaded. Okay, so I have a lot of different. I wrote out a lot of plans and policies in terms of what I would like to see done locally. The things that I would love to tackle. First of all, I want to deal with when I say culture of our district, I'm not speaking of an ethnicity or nationality. I'm speaking of the way that we treat one another. I think that in our district, it's very interesting because we have high income, middle income, and then we have those that are in shelters and those that are in public housing. What I have seen is a divide. I've seen a divide, and I have not seen people come together. That's something that I want to change. I want to see everyone come together. I want to see everyone civically engaged. What has broke my heart the most, I've knocked on thousands of doors. I think over 7,000 doors I've knocked over in the last 2 months. I lost count. But in knocking on doors, especially in public housing and talking to people, what has broke my heart is that people in public housing feel neglected. They're not paid attention to because there's no political interest. They've been neglected. I want to change that. I want to see all of us come together. I want to see everyone civically engaged. I want people to know their rights. I want people to feel empowered, and I want people to have a seat at the table. No more cliques. No more just this group of people controlling things. No, we all need to come. What makes us so amazing in this district is we have all these different talents and skills. When we bring that together, we can produce at the optimum level. We can see entrepreneurships programs and more entrepreneurs. We can see workforce programs and other things that are missing in our district. We can see those things come together when we utilize people and we're not ostracizing or neglecting them. That's one thing I want to change. I also have a lot of things that I want to see done in terms of our education system. You'll see a lot that I'm a big advocate when it comes to education. In the Bronx, we have the lowest test scores, the lowest high school graduation rate, the lowest college attainment rate. That needs to change. That needs to change. We need to reimagine our public school system. We have not spent enough money investing in our kids who are not just our future, they're our now. They are our today. Our education system is outdated. It's based on a world that does not exist anymore. Our kids, they have creative intelligence that we're not tapping into. These are the future scientists. These are the kids that they're going to bring forth advanced technology. We are behind in STEM. These are things I've not seen invested in. These are things that I want to make sure I put effort into investing into our education system and to our public school system. And there's a lot more, but I won't overload you. I'll just leave you with those two.
No, that's fine. Thank you. And it sounds amazing. And you are absolutely right. I believe that NYCHA is very neglected, not just here in our district, but citywide. But yeah. So as first city councilwoman, also, this district is a very unique district in terms of it's 60% Black. For the most part, it's a Black district. Whereas we are the majority, and we live in a society of representation. Majority wins, minority lose. So even things like the newly built, I don't think they finished, the YMCA that they're building. When you're the majority, you're supposed to walk like you're the majority. You're supposed to act like you're the majority. You're not supposed to walk around like you're a minority. And this is more of just a statement, not a question. And I'll get to another question. One of the things that I found very interesting was whoever the mechanics or the powers that be that built the YMCA said, we're going to have jobs for the residents of the community. Whereas if you're 60% of the majority, how come you couldn't get the contractor from the community? They should have
That's
had
right.
They should have had first bid off of that, and then the jobs would have been automatic. So I understand when you talk about equity, because equality and equity are two different things, and we don't have access to the various things that we need to have access to, because people are somewhat clicked in, which is going to lead to my next question. I had Pamela Johnson Hamilton on a few days ago, and we spoke about the machine that is behind Kevin Rowley. And I want your thoughts on that. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that number one, we need to change the way that politics is ran, period. I've been a recipient in terms of seeing how powerful they are. Mm-hmm. Now, I have been preparing to run for office for quite some time. People don't know this, where I've invested money into programs to prepare me, because I knew this is what I wanted to do. But, it's interesting because I talk to my mentors all the time who are in politics, and in class, they would always train us a certain way. And I'm like, is it really that bad? And when I got out there, I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize the power that they held. I think that it's sad, because when we're supposed to be liberating, we become tools of oppression. And I think that is what's happening. When we start to shut people's voices, stop people, or not give people chances to run for office because we have our own person, we take power away from people, and we become tools of oppression ourselves. So we will be saying, I'm doing this in the name of people, when it's not. It's an abuse of power. And that needs to stop. It needs to stop. I've seen it. I have been a recipient of it and running in this campaign, and it's been very discouraging. And if I didn't have the tenacity and the fight that I did, I would have stopped. But I have been raised by really strong and amazing people, including my mom, that have taught me hard work, that have taught me how to fight, that have taught me to stand my ground. I don't back up from a competition. People have told me to stop. People have told me to stop running. I've told them no. I will not be bullied. I will not be intimidated. You will not bribe me. I will not do it. And I'm saying that as a public announcement on your interview as well, because I haven't said it before, but I want people to know. I think people take my kindness a lot for granted, because I'm a very kind person. I'm very kind and very sweet. But I also I don't play games. So I think that it's sad that, that you have a political machine that is shutting people's voice, that's not giving people a chance to choose who should be in office. Let it be a fair run. That's my thing. Let everyone run. Let it be. I want to know that if I win, I have done it with integrity. I've done it with honesty. I have done it because I put the work in. And because I earned to be there. And that is what you're taking out. And that needs to stop. That needs to stop. And I could go a little deeper, but I'm going to stop there. But I think overall, it's sad, because it's our people. It's people of color. We should not have to go through oppression with our own people. And that's what's happening. So, and I think people get it. As everyone is not drinking the Kool-Aid. Some people know, and some people can think for themselves, and they can see it, right? And so I think you have to tell people, you have to give them the information. And at that point, you let them choose. So I like what you're doing, Kevin, on the show, and bringing these issues to the forefront, because people will try to shut them. They will try to shut your mouth. They'll try to tell you to be quiet. They'll try to intimidate you, but you have to get the information. People need to be informed. They need to know what's going on. And so I thank you for even asking that question and giving me the opportunity to answer it.
Thank you. Well, one thing I've learned, every skin folk and kinfolk. I've learned that. It's a very life learning lesson that I'm picking up on, so that's number one. And then number two, you said you're not going to get deep, so allow me to do it for you. Okay. Now, you recently had a scheduled debate that Mr. Rowley didn't show up to, and Neville kind of jumped out the window. I've been trying to get him to be on the show as well, because he asked the moderator from early on that was Mr. Rowley going to be there? And the moderator didn't answer. And once he got there, from my understanding, it was said he wasn't going to participate in the the debate. I find that to be very disrespectful for the position that he's running. I find it to be a slap in the face to every voter that you ask him to come out for a special election. I find it to be very arrogant, and I find it and it shows the power of county. The other thing that I will mention as well is that this is a special election, and judging by all of the literature that has been coming to my home, you would think this was Biden and Trump, and he was on
Presidential.
and he was on the ticket, on that same ticket, like the bells and what. There, I'm gonna go on the record and say there shouldn't be not one endorsement from no group for one candidate, because you endorse people when your party is threatened. Y'all are all Democrats. Y'all are all running under the Democratic ticket. The party's not being threatened. So to get an endorsement really ostracizes you and the other candidates. It's really a slap in the face of democracy, or what a free election is supposed to be. And I'm gonna say this, and then I'll ask another question. Everyone that's in a seat right now has come under or come through the mentorship of Carl Hastie. So Kevin Rowley came under the mentorship of Carl Hastie. Jamal Bailey has come under the mentorship of Carl Hastie. That doesn't look like a democracy to me. It's beginning to look like a dictatorship, and it needs to be rectified. Now, I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm telling you that's what it looks like, and that's what it could be taken for, and that's what it could be very well. I mentored these people to put them in a political position to uplift. It could be that. But what I'm saying is, when you're the puppet master and you're able to pull all the strings, and it's going to lead to my next question, you could get what you want, even if what you want is on a city level, but you're in a state. And which leads me to my next question, the area over near Chuck E. Cheese that they wanted to make it to a strip mall. How do you feel about that? Do you think it should be a strip mall, or do you think it should be what the community don't want, which is another strip mall?
I think that anything that happens in our community, and this is what I've seen a lot, is our voice not being heard. And even when we voice what we want, it still doesn't happen. I think whatever the community wants, whatever is going to benefit us, and whatever we need a piece of that pie, if that makes sense. So a lot of times what happens is developers and different people come in our communities, they take the wealth out. They profit off of us. And we don't get a part of that. And that is the problem that I'm having with the developers and what's going on in our community, in our district. I think that we need to invest more in the people that are here. There are a lot of people that are contractors and run other types of businesses. Why are they not getting contracts? Why can't we build in our own community? Why can't we get tax breaks or tax incentives, to build and be developers in our own community? Why is it always outside people? And that is the problem that I'm having. We're not benefiting from it. There's a constant taking out of our district, and we don't get it. And that's where the equity, what you were talking about, the difference between equity and equality. There's not equity when that happens. So my problem, I always say gentrification, I don't have a problem with it when Black people are on the forefront and when we're profiting, right? The right term for it. So if we are the ones that are developing, we're the developers, we're the contractors, we're the ones giving out and saying where things need to go, where jobs, we're opening the jobs, then I am for it. But when there are people, outside developers, outside contractors, constantly taking funds out of our district, I'm against it completely. So that's my position. I also want to say that I know I sit on Community Board 12. I'm a new member, and I know there were a lot of issues with developers in terms of us as a community saying things like, we don't want this here, and they've done it anyway. And that's on the local elected officials. I'm going to put that on them. That's on our local elected officials to be able to say, this is what the people want or don't want. I would make sure I listen to what people want. I'm involving them. I'm listening to, I'm not making decisions based on what I want. And that's what's been happening for too long. So to answer your question, I'm not against developers, but it has to be developers from within our own district, our own community. And we are the ones that need to get those jobs. We're the ones that need to benefit. And we're the ones that need to create those jobs as well. So that's where I stand on it.
Thank you. The community board, it's really amazing because I went to a couple of community board meetings, and ironically, you know, when I see the realtors, the commercial realtors in this district do not reflect the 60% of this district. So it's really weird that what you're saying, it's very intricate, and then we need to, you know, we need to kind of rectify and iron out a lot of the wrinkles. I mean, if you want to find a great candidate, I think you should go as far as following the money. Would you take money from, say, a developer?
I would not. I would not. I do not want to have to pay up when it's time to pay. I want for me, my empowerment and the empowerment of my people comes through their dollar, through the ones that's going to vote for me. So I've only taken money from people that are in my district or people that are in a community that support me. I don't take money from corporations, developers, and I would not, because you got to understand that what are those developers doing? What do they represent? What's going on behind the scenes? And when it's time to pay up, they'll be asking you for favors. I do not want to compromise my people at the expense of for a dollar. I will not. And that's something that I will stand and make sure that I do not do. And I'm going to run again. I'll run again in 2021. We'll see what happens with this election. I'll run again, and I will stick to my word. And I want you all to follow me and see that. Keep looking at my disclosures on campaign finance. I will not be taking money from corporations, or especially not developers. I'll be taking money from the people, from you all, because when you give, it's your voice. It's your voice that's being empowered.
And thank you for not taking PAC money, because that's very important. And it rigs, I mean, it rigs the election also, you know, because you have these powerful developers that are taking PAC money, and even in city council, when you look at affordable housing, who is it? The word affordable favors the rich. So when you have they've given sweetheart deals with I believe it's a 80-20, you know, towards affordable housing. But when you look at the sweetheart deal, when you look at the tax incentive that they've given, it's like it should be more like a 50-50.
Yeah, and the other part, because I like that you brought that up, Kevin. I was thinking about the affordable housing. I don't know if a lot of people know, but we're in jeopardy of losing like 16,000 affordable housing units in our district. But I think the deeper issue here is not just that we're in jeopardy of losing what we have, but it's what's being built. Developers are those that are running these buildings. They're not complying. They're not actually giving the affordable housing units to people that really need it. So there's a whole bunch of deception going on here. If you're building affordable housing units in our district, why are they not going to people that need it? Why? Who is it going to? You know, and so that is a problem that I've been seeing. Discrimination at application. Some people can't even get in the door. It's crazy. They'll ask you for your credit score before they even show you an apartment. It's like, what? Give me your credit score and social security number. No, that's insane. You know, and this is how our people are being treated. But in terms of the affordable housing, it's not going to people that really need it. It's not. You're right. Affordable, that's, you know, high income people. You know, people can't afford it. It's not affordable. I don't know if you know how much it costs to rent a regular 2-bedroom in our district. It's like $2,400. Can't afford that, especially if you have kids. You got to make decisions between do I pay my credit card bill, or do I pay this bill, or do I feed my kids, or do I pay the rent, or do I go food shop? This is the real decisions that people are making. We don't have time for the games and the deception. We need to make sure that we're building affordable housing units, that these contractors are sticking to what they're saying they're going to do, and that's going to the right people.
I would argue to take even the word affordable housing out, and you need to build low income housing, because we
That's right.
act in America just eradicated itself. It didn't. It's still here and it's thriving. And what they're doing is they're using code words to make it look like it doesn't exist, like affordable housing. There is affordable housing. I know folk that are paying $1,700 for a 1 bedroom. What's affordable about that?
That's not affordable.
It really isn't. So it's refreshing to actually hear you say that. Do you have a plan put in place for entrepreneurships and things like that? Because I think that's if we could build a bunch of entrepreneurs. One of the things that I really would love to fight for is that I could remember back in the days when you could go to White Plains Road and get anything that you wanted, anything. But when you go to White Plains Road now, it's very dark, it's very
Sad.
gloomy. So one of the things I would love to see is that all of White Plains Road, from 241st all the way to Gun Hill
Gun
Road,
Hill.
be illuminated, where it's nice and bright, and bring in stores that could actually mean something to us. Like, I mean, you got the little VIM here and a lot of mom and pop stores, which really do need to thrive, but you have a lot of empty stores now. How do you bring in certain things because you can't have all entrepreneurship, but how do you bring in services like what we could use, like a hardware store or maybe a Home Depot or something, things like that would actually look good in the community. Are you in favor of that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm a small business owner, and I'm smiling here because I feel like you were in some of my plans and when I was writing it in my book. So as an entrepreneur myself, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. Their entrepreneurship it's changed my life, and it means a lot to me. I understand that it creates generations of wealth, and something that we as Black and brown people don't have enough of. So I have quite a few plans for entrepreneurship. One, in terms of the White Plains Road, yes, there are a lot of businesses that have shut down because of COVID, and a lot of businesses that can't continue staying open. I have a few things that I want to do, and I've seen this done in one specific district in Manhattan. I would like to have a program that helps business out that have been impacted by COVID with rent arrears. So those that don't necessarily own that property, or even those that own it that are from the district or that are minorities, to help them stay in those places, because a lot of people are about to close down if they haven't already. And these are businesses that we need to stay open, right? They are the culture. They bring the spirit of our district. So I would definitely invest in those that we have here now. The other thing that I would love to see done is, like you said, the illumination, the brightening, the revitalization of our district, where people will come and, tourists and different people will come and be like, I got to go to the Northeast Bronx because I got to go to that spot over there. Or I love Boston Road, the way the lights are lit up, or the White Plains Road. It becomes that place that people yearn to be in, right? And we take pride in it. And then it brings money back into our pockets and back into our district. That's something that is very dear to me that I would love to see done in our district. The other thing that I want to do is a resource center. I have noticed, and talking to a lot of people, that a lot of people don't really know how to do certain things. Like, they don't know how to start a business. They don't know how to put a business plan together. They don't know how to fill out an application. Even the CARES Act, I'm sure you know about that. A lot of our people, we didn't get it. Oh, I got it because, but a lot of our people did not get it because they didn't know how, or they didn't have the proper paperwork in place and that could have helped them to stay open. And this is what I'm talking about: access and equity, right?
And
When COVID hit and the CARES Act happened, the Bronx got hardly nothing. We got hardly nothing, especially in the Northeast Bronx. Half the time we don't even know what's going on out there. We're like, when did this happen? Application already closed. So I would make sure certain information gets to us first, so that we get first dibs. We know what's going on. We get those funds so we can stay open, so we can beautify our businesses, revitalize our district. You'll see certain stores that look sad. You're like, really? The walls are falling apart. It's like, that's horrible. We'll give different grants to stores to beautify the storefront, to fix it up, put some lights up there, make it look nice, revitalize. Also entrepreneurship, like I was mentioning, a resource center. It would teach people, it would be a technical assistance lab. It would teach people different things from entrepreneurship, how to start your business, how to apply for funding, how to do your taxes, how to keep your books. And you know, we'll venture into other things like home ownership, how to apply for a home, a loan, mortgage, how to start. It would be a center where people can come to get information, because that's what people need. You know, we always say knowledge is power, and it becomes cliche, but it really is. I'm also spiritual, so there's a scripture in the Bible that says, my people, we suffer from lack of knowledge. And we do. So the resource center will give information and access to push forth new entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs today to be able to thrive and revitalize our district and bring the wealth into our community that we need.
And I want to just touch and piggyback off of something you just said when you said knowledge is power. I agree and disagree. The application of knowledge is power.
Here we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So I think you are an amazing candidate for this. You're very qualified. You're very articulate. I love your spirit. You have a very fighting spirit, because I probably was the very first person that said, I see the whammy bammy on this election. And it's, you know, I probably said what everyone was thinking, you know, and this is what led me to actually do this. I invited all of the candidates. I'm going to try to reach out to Neville, and I'm going to try to reach out to Kevin Riley once again, because that's who felt a little disparaged. And, you know, I just want him to know he's my brother. We could dialogue, and, you know, even if we agree to disagree, you know, I just can't give you my vote. I got to know, and this has been historically the problem. We're not educated when it comes to various elections, and politicians were able to capitalize off of that because you, as my representative, worked for me.
That's right.
Many times we are seeing, and a lot of voters are starting to feel, as me voting for you, I work for you. And so we got to change the narrative, because what you're doing at that particular, you're changing the Constitution.
That's right.
And as a United States war vet, I fought to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And so when you start treading on it, I don't take it lightly. And you know, again, I would love to, if Carl Hasty was to see me, I would love to have either a private or a public conversation with him, because I view his spirit on these elections, or I question the legality of it. I question, are you changing democracy to a dictatorship? But I digress. Anything else you want to say before? Where can we reach you? Where can people find you?
So I'm mainly on Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm under my name, Shanequa Moore. So if you Google me, actually, you'll probably see a lot of things pop up. You just put my name in, Shanequa Moore. You can go on Facebook, reach out to me, sort of like you did, Kevin. You got me on Messenger. Or you can reach me on LinkedIn, also under Shanequa Moore. If you want more information about my campaign, you can visit my website at mooreforddistrict12.com, MOOREFOR district12.com. Also want to say, Kevin, really quickly, thank you. I think what you're doing is transformative. I think it's necessary. And I also want to encourage you to keep going, keep fighting the good fight, because you're doing a great work. Also, thank you for serving this country. I didn't know that you were a vet, so that, you know, now you're going to be one of my favorite people. But thank you so much for serving this country. And thank you for this radio show. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for getting the information to people. People deserve to be informed. And that's what you're doing. So I just want to say thank you for that.
You're very welcome. And again, the election is this Tuesday coming up, December 22nd. It's a special election. District 12, please show up. Again, District 12, please show up. Have your voices heard. Do not let the machine control you. Make an informed decision based off of what works for you, not for what people will tell you what you thinks work for you. So you have to make these informed decisions based off of what you know. And this is the reason that I even had this show, so that I could introduce you to some of the candidates, so that you could get a feel for them. Because I assure you, my comment came originally from not even knowing who Kevin Raleigh was. And it's not to say, after I did my homework on him, I'm like, oh my God, yes, he is a proud resident of this district, and he's done some amazing things. So I'm not trying to disparage him. I just didn't know him. Like I didn't know you. I feel like now I know you. I didn't know Pamela. I feel like now I know Pamela. And we should have transparency in our district, especially when you're asking for our vote. So
Absolutely.
I want to thank you. Come out, District 12. That's Co-op City, Edenwald, Baychester, White Plains Road, Gun Hill, East Chester Gardens. Come out and vote. It's not going to. These are usually low elections, so you're not going to wait a long time to get in. It's going to be an in and out thing, and just that's your duty as a citizen. Thanks again. Anything else you want to say in closing?
Well, that's all. Thank you so much. And again, I just wanted to say this last thing. Your vote will count if you write my name in. Some people have asked, will it count? I don't know. They're a little nervous about it. But just so you know, I am recognized by Campaign Finance as a writing candidate. And so if you do vote for me, and if I have earned your vote will count. So write in Shanequa Moore on the ballot. I have some instructions on my Facebook page on how to do that, as well as sample ballots that you can see on how to do it, because I want to make sure you're educated and you know your rights as well. Thank you, Kevin.
No, thank you. And you have a wonderful day. And good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Peace.
All black.